Okay, we're continuing in the talk of the Rebbe from Taf Shin Yud Pinchas, Shabbos Mevorchim, the month of Menachem Av. Okay, we're holding Sif Yud. The Rebbe says as follows: Minyanim Dominion Bnei Israel. When we talk about the counting of the Jewish people, Parshas Pinchas talks about the counting of the Jewish people. Shaitei Naseh Matoikif. The davar shebeminion lay bottle. We know the law is that something that's counted is not nullified. There's certain things that could get nullified in 60, 100, 200, but if it's something that's counted, the importance that you counted. Some people say, let's say, a dozen eggs as opposed to a kilo of eggs. No one buys a kilo of eggs; you buy a dozen eggs. You pay per egg. So the importance of that you're selling it, or it's something that is used in a way of counting, like counting the Jewish people, that itself, the counting makes it something that can't be nullified. The Rebbe spoke about this many times over the years, that the idea of counting the Jewish people, especially in Iyur, and getting ready for Sfiras Omer, the counting of the Omer, when you count it, it's something that's significant enough, or so significant that it can never be nullified. One of the reasons why the Jewish people never nullified. So the Rebbe continues with Lachain, therefore, Alpha Pi Sheklo even though we're the least of the people. I mean, so there's no one of the smallest nations of the world are the Jewish people. But befrat shomer Torah mitzvahs, and when you talk about amongst the Jewish people themselves, those who are so far keeping Torah mitzvahs, ma'at are the minority of close b'nei Israel. Unfortunately, it means most people are not on the level of observance of Torah mitzvahs. Shtachem yeshnam hatoyanim. So there are some people may say, where do we get the strength to be proper shomer Torah mitzvahs if we're a minority of the world and of the Jewish people we're a minority? How do we not get overwhelmed by the world? Not only do we stand in our strength, we're not standing in our strength being religious Jews or Torah observant Jews and minding our own business and just trying to isolate and exclude ourselves and isolate ourselves from other people. But on the contrary, we're active. We're not intimidated by our numbers, and we're going to go and out and reach out to others. Like the Rebbe sent a shliach out to one city, one shliach, one couple of a husband and wife to go out and infect the whole city, someplace the whole country. What do you mean? There's two people. There's so many more people outside of the world that are not Jewish, and even those who are Jewish. There's such a minority. How could you survive this? Never mind survive that. We're going to affect that. We're going to turn around that whole space and make that place a dir b'tachtonim. Like the Rebbe says, this idea that we shouldn't be overwhelmed by our minority, and not only not be overwhelmed, but to say we're going to go out there and change the world. That's what the Rebbe demanded from chassidim. Again, these are the early years where the Rebbe's talking in skashers. The Rebbe's laying the groundwork, what he's trying to accomplish with sichos, with his chassidim, with the Dorish Shvi. Like it's known from the Sicha of Yud Gimel Tammuz of the year 43 in Shabi. The Rebbe said it when he spoke about Yud Gimel Tammuz. We learned to Sicha. Not only do you have to be alive, you have to make others alive. Did nervous when leapt alain, not that just that you survived, that I'm alive. No, leapt, you give life to others. The strength that we have in Torah mitzvahs. And when are we in a situation of strength? When we're in our comfort zone of the yeshiva or the shul. Allah says a person has to go out to the street, to the place that you're unfamiliar. Go to a yid. The Rebbe's talking those days. We don't even know if the person's wearing a talis, means a tzitzis. Any day I feel him levesh talis godel tefillah. We're not even sure if this person will put on a talis when he davens or when he davens. I feel him negay lahanochet tefillah. And any day, but mamadi matzavay, and you're turning to this Jew. You're not even sure where that person's holding with regard to the observance of the mitzvah of tefillin. And you have to tell this Jew, the Rebbe says, without being intimidated. Shema Yehudi, listen here, dear Jew. I'm not here to ask any money. I don't need anything from you. Why am I approaching you? Please put on tefillin, do a mitzvah. At least put on tefillin daily. Ta'asa li tova, do me a favor. Ta'asa la'atzmecha tova, do yourself a favor. Ta'asa tova lahirecha, do a favor for your parents. V'ziknecha, to your elder, to your grandparents. V'zikne ziknecha, and your elder zayda, your great grandparents. Ad Yaakov Avinu, all the way to our forefather Jacob. V'ta'asa tova l'zarecha achrecha, and do a favor for your descendants. Ad seif kol deris, and for all of time. Ad bias Mashiach, until Mashiach comes, and put on tefillin. Yechol mishu lita, and a person may say, "Shein zu miderach chanimus legeshes la'adam." It doesn't make sense. It's not appropriate to go and approach a person. Shein makiru, you're not familiar with this person. You never met this person before, and then I'm starting the Yom Niftzayim, go on the street and ask, "Excuse me, sir, are you Jewish?" The Rebbe once came to Seattle and said, "Excuse me, sir, are you Jewish? Would you like to put on phylacteries?" He goes, "I never heard. I don't know what phylacteries are." He goes, "Trust me, if you don't know what tefillin are, you don't know what phylacteries are." I don't know. You don't know what's going on with this person. You don't know anything about this person. You don't know what issue this person's suffering with. I feel you're not even sure. You're not even sure if the person's Jewish. Excuse me, sir, are you Jewish? You don't. There's no identity that this person should be Jewish. No yarmulke. Not even Star of David. But mindless, so the person says to the Rebbe, "What do you want from me? You want me to go on the streets, down the street, approach a person I never know, I never met, and I don't even know if he's Jewish. Ask him if he's Jewish, and if he's Jewish, and ask if he wants to put on film. And none of that, to tell the person, do me a favor, to put on film for your own sake, for my sake, for your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and your descendants." But mindless, so the Rebbe says the answer is, "Shepikuch nefesh doich hakol." I hear all your, the Rebbe saying, I hear everything you're saying. I hear all your questions, all your uncomfortableness, how inconvenient this is for you, but this is saving someone's life. If someone was burning in a house, well, you wouldn't start asking them, "It's not nice, should I go save you? I don't know you, maybe you don't know me. Who are your parents, who are your grandparents? We're not familiar with each other. I'm shy." You wouldn't ask all those questions. The person's burning in a house, you'd run over and save the person. V'gam ala safek, even if it's a doubt, if maybe you're going to, it's pekuach nefesh, maybe you can't save the person. So the halach is mefachah and Allah v'sagal. You could turn over, you could change things even on Shabbos when there's a prohibition of Shabbos. You can't just violate the Shabbos. You're going to violate the Shabbos on a safek and a doubt, maybe I'm going to save a person's life. If that's the case in spiritual, so for in material, so surely spiritual. Shagam al safek, even just a doubt, you don't even know if the person is Jewish. You don't know if the person is Jewish. How's the person going to respond to my request of put on tefillin? Kol gam asafik im Yehudi, you don't even know if the person is Jewish, the Rebbe says. This is the Rebbe is talking 1950 today, that he's saying, what's the big deal? People stand on the streets. People didn't stand on the streets. Till the Rebbe really went on the campaign with full force in 1967, by the Yom Kippur, by the 6-Day War, it was unheard of. People from the streets, religious people were screaming, "Haytachet." The Rebbe had to put up with all kind of nonsense of people coming with shaylas, halachas. Is it appropriate? Are you allowed to ask someone? Are you allowed to make someone uncomfortable by asking if they're Jewish or not, or whether they want to put on film? Everyone found a million reasons not to do it. Today it's a normal thing. Today you go around Yerushalayim, there's stands everywhere. Whatever, it's still a challenge. But the Rebbe had to put up with in 1967. Here the Rebbe is talking 1950, 16 years before the campaign, the proper campaign of film. But there, the Rebbe brings support to his idea. There's a Gemara that says, "Shrav Ade Bar Abba," was a person called Rav Ade Bar Abba. Chazila hi kutis, tahavu levishas karbel tabashuka. A non-Jewish woman who was wearing something, like certain clothing in the public market. Suffered the Bas Yisraeli. He thought maybe she's a Jewish woman. Come kari mine. Igli milsa de kusisi. He took it away from her. Maybe it was inappropriate clothing after see the Gemara. And it turned out she wasn't a Jew, she was a Gentile. It wasn't something that was inappropriate for her situation. Shaime ba'arba me'ezuzeh, shemishum safek hatzos nefesh misrael medaber midaber Yisrael ezer goy mechos al memoini listapik livaret chilin hi bas Yisrael. And he paid her, I guess the damages or for the shame, he gave her 400 Jews, which is a amount of money. Could have first asked if she's Jewish and then take it away from her. First he wanted to take away from whatever it was that she was being inappropriate in the public market, and then he realized that he shamed someone that wasn't her religion. He had no business, then he compensated her. L'hoiseh, the Rebbe says, when it comes to helping a person in their situation between them and God, It also affects how you treat people with regard to each other. Meaning, it's not like those who make the mistake, who make whose claim. When it comes to people's behavior between each other, okay, so it makes sense. You could kind of be forthcoming. You have to be, because it's world peace, right? Or it's peace in the community. So then I could be forthful or forthcoming. When it comes to someone's private religion between them and God, when it comes to mitzvahs that I could say something that makes sense. But something that's a mitzvah that's a choik, I can't even explain the reasoning properly of the mitzvah. How could I? It's not important to me. It's not important for me to go and impose myself on someone else. I'm not God's policeman. To ask a person, did you put on tefillin today? It says covering someone's head is a remedy for having fear of God. A person whose head went uncovered for a little bit and ended up possibly being involved in something that they shouldn't have because they didn't have the fear of God. Not only that they did thievery, but they did open thievery. What do you see? What happened? Because they didn't have covering his hair, his head, he wasn't wearing a kippah. So it affected how the person ended up behaving between others. He ended up becoming a thief. The Rebbe says it doesn't just affect their spirituality, it also affects reflects their general behavior amongst people. If a person covers their hair, covers their head, it's going to help them in society as well. So the Rebbe is saying it's not just something that you could say has nothing to do with what do I have to do with God? Why am I God's policeman? Why do I have to go and make myself when that other person uncomfortable and ask them about their godliness? The Rebbe says, first of all, it's koch nefesh. It's life-saving. And second, another point is, it actually, when a person is doing Torah mitzvahs, they're a better person. The Rebbe continues, however, while a person has to be very careful, of course, to engaging others and helping others, we have to remember about ourselves. Take care of ourselves, both materially and physically and spiritually. It says, when you see someone naked, you have to cover them, spiritually also, spiritually naked, cover them, help them in Torah mitzvahs. But from your own flesh, don't forget about yourself. There are those who think the opposite, are very out there with others, but when it comes to themselves, they're not careful. As long as I'm out there helping others, so what if I'm not so good myself? If I could give others energy, like the Rebbe says, give life to others. It's also a sign I must be doing a good job of myself. If I'm able to light other people's fires, my fire must be lit also. I must be a perfect person if I'm able to affect others. But we know that's not true. Again, these are things that were new ideas, but now we see clearly a person can be very effective with others. And we still have a lot of work on ourselves, myself included. But we see that the Rebbe said, it's very nice to be engaged with others and to help others, and you should, like the Rebbe said, made the argument. At the same time, you have to be careful, we have to work on ourselves. The Rebbe says the evil inclination, the klugenger, as the Friedrich Rebbe would call him, the wise one. He knows how to approach each person on their weaknesses and their character. And those people are always thinking about themselves, they're never looking to help someone else. Those who are person farzichtike means, it's a Yiddish word, farzich. I'm myself. Dike is a kind of, I'm a person who worries about myself the whole time. Tanya Yitzhar historically said by Dimatzme. So the Yitzhar comes and says, surely, yeah, you only work on yourself. Take care of yourself. Why? Don't worry about anyone else. It's not your job. And he'll open up the Shulchan Aruch and I'll tell you proof here. Look, as long as the Yitzhar is like anyone today, you'll open up a podcast and anti-Semite, right? So they could be a Republican and hate a liberal and hate a Democrat, but if it's a way to hurt the Jews or Eretz Yisrael and show that the Jews are controlling the world and manipulating the world, they don't care to be a champion and a cheerleader for a Democrat, Republic, a liberal who politically they can't stand. Why? Because they have a bigger interest. Their interest is to hurt the Jewish people. Yitzhahara runs on the same philosophy. He doesn't care about making you put on film or learning or being really from, as long as you're not going to go do what Hashem wants the person to do. And if a person is a private person and a selfish person, only worried about themselves, he'll argue, be only worried about yourself. Learn more, daven more. You don't have time for someone else because he's all about results. You can learn from the Yitzhahara what you should be doing. The Yitzhahara is pushing you. And how do you know if it's coming from the Yitzhahara? There's a lot of science to know. The Rebbe always says, how do you know if the Yitzhahara is talking? Maybe it's the Yitzhahara telling you to be selfish. Selfish and the Yitzhahara don't go together. So if it's about being selfish, that's the Yitzhahara. So you have to say, 1 second, who's talking to me? So those who think that I'm a farzich, I'm a personal person. So therefore, Yitzhahara the Klugenger. So what is he doing? The Yitzhahara says, what do you mean? Work on yourself. Don't worry about someone else. The virus is you're not perfect yourself. You have a lot of work to do. It's not your place to worry. You're not God's policeman. You don't have to worry about other people. You didn't deal with your own palace, and now you're going to go conquer someone else's palace. If you lost something and someone else lost something, halacha says you come first. So if you're lost and someone else is lost spiritually, you have to worry about yourself. Merudim tavi beis kisir arum kisisa. Therefore, the pasuk says, if you see someone hungry, you see someone naked, and you see someone poor, feed them, provide for them, clothe them. But for the people, it should be tivam hemaskan. And you have some people that's all they never want to look at themselves. They only want to help others, and they use that as an excuse. It's the distraction. They never have to work on themselves. So the Yitzhahara is also for that person. Again, the Yitzhahara has no emes. The Yitzhahara is the only job the Yitzhahara is looking to bring you down, to get you to do not what you should be doing. So therefore, for the opposite person, he's going to have a total opposite argument. You have to worry about someone else. Should be massive pikuch nefesh. It's pikuch nefesh. In lachshav alatzmi, how can you think about yourself? Stop being selfish. Give it pikuch nefesh derech kol Torah kula, and it'll make you bend ways. Take on a mechitza. Men and women could be together. Do all the things that the Yitzhahara finds all these kind of kulas. Why? Because it's pikuch nefesh. Pikuch nefesh derech kol. Pikuch nefesh pushes everything aside. Ad gekach. So the Rebbe says the Yitzhahara again, very clever. He'll tell a person, keep your store has to be open on Shabbos. Why? Because you need money to give tzedakah. Sicha b'Shabbos chas v'shalom k'dei litin oy dollar tzedakah v'Yehudi shimtzem machna the machna hamaver DP camps. Those days the people coming in the DP camps, survivors. If you close your store on Shabbos, it's pikuch nefesh. It's someone in the DP camp who needs your charity. He needs you to give an organization that 10% is going to go to the person themselves in the DB camp. Just keep your store open on Shabbos, so you can give another dollar of tzedakah to the organizations that provide monies towards the DP camps. It's a hard thing. You worried about your own Shabbos? They need money to come to Eretz Yisrael. You know how important the Yitzhahara comes, says, how important it is for someone to get out of the DB camps to go into Eretz Yisrael. Walking 4 feet in Eretz Yisrael is a mitzvah. And you're a supporter of it. You'll have a portion of the world to come. Befrat specifically, the Rebbe says, and you're going to help someone else speak in Lashon HaKodesh, is garnish shaykh to Zagan. Why? It's so important. Then therefore you have to have the balance. You have to know when the Yitzhahara is talking to you, when the Yitzhahara is talking to you. When you're a person who's looking to run away from helping others, then you have to pull yourself towards helping others, obviously in a balanced way. And when you're looking only to help others, and therefore you're ready to do anything to help others, even to Chal Shabbos, desecrate the Shabbos, then you have to know that's also the Yitzhahara talking. Al tishkach ma'asmach, the Rebbe says, don't forget about yourself. Don't forget about yourself. The Rebbe says, what does it mean not to forget about yourself? You have to remember that you also have flesh. You also have your flesh, daika. Basar, gas, vechumri, you also are coarse. You also have a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done with yourself as well. The Friedrich Rebbe once told a story. She'aviv Admim Rashav Nishmas Eden, once the Rebbe Rashab, he's bata pam benegel levishas sitzes aguf. Oh, sorry, he's talking about the person putting on their body sitzes. So the Rebbe Rashab once said, Friedrich Rebbe quoted his father, Ich darf deine Fleisch. You think I need just meat? Fleisch kann ich kriegen beim kosher katzer. If I wanted meat, I could go to the butcher, kosher butcher, and get meat. Wie viel ich will, as much as I want. Dvar melu nemru to a lebedik kind yelet shegadol achach lismana gadol. The Friedrich Rebbe said that the Rebbe Shab told him, "You think I need your flesh? I want you to do a mitzvah. To make something kosher, you need to soak it, you need to salt it, you need to wash it. What's this mean in a person's life? Shari b'mayim, what does it mean to sit to wash the flesh in water spiritually? Soak yourself in water, like you're soaking the meat in water. And soak yourself in prayer, like it says, Shivchi kamayim libech, I pour my heart out like water. It's talking about tefillah, prayer. What does it mean to salt? Hasar sadam yabasha, you have to get rid of the flesh, the blood from the meat. Hainu hasar sachoim barasicha der koch shel abasir. Stop koching, stop living such passion in the physicality. Mashenkin dam and nizrak al mizbech shu dam shel kedusha. Sometimes there is holy blood, the blood that goes in the mizbech, but the blood that sits in your flesh that has to be sucked out. And the washing off of the salt afterwards, it shouldn't show that I'm a person that got rid of the blood. You shouldn't have ego. From the fact that you got rid of your passions for the world. As a room gain, show yourself off. You're carrying around the blood. Look at the blood I took out of myself to serve Hashem. Look at the Mishras Nefesh I had for myself. Now I'm so righteous. Everything has to be with emes. The idea is emes. Even if I'm Baal Teshuvah, you have to have emes. It's not about you achieve Teshuvah. It's about actually doing the Teshuvah. You have to wash out. So after you salted and took out your passions, not to walk around displaying. Look at the passions that I took out of myself. Look at kind of Mesiras Nefesh. I used to love doing all these things, but I worked on myself. I've become so strong. I don't have these desires anymore. Dial it back a bit. All right, we're going to stop here.